While the New Mexico Museum of Art is temporarily closed to the public, we'd like to continue to bring you art and artists. Today, we've moved one of the in-gallery alcove conversations to a virtual format, and I'm happy to have with me Amy Ellingson. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Mary.
So thank you for doing this. And I wanted to start with kind of a question that's about your work in general. We have on view lithographs, paintings, drawings, and sculpture. So pretty much an example of everything you do. They're an interesting juxtaposition of human craft and skill and knowledge over materials, juxtaposed with digital and kind of technological drafting and manufacture. How do you navigate that divide, and what's the place of each in your practice?
Great question. Well, my work in general is really about the idea of confronting the enormity of our contemporary virtual digital life and experience that we're so immersed in all the time, and kind of contrasting that with this ancient activity, which is painting, which is, such a rich, long history, and something that it's so materially involving and so much knowledge base that has been, kind of accumulating for hundreds, if not, 30,000 years. And so I think that space between the two is really interesting. I'm really interested in a few different questions. One is, at what point does algorithm become expressive? At what point does mathematical data become gestural? At what point does geometry appear organic and natural and expressive? And how does something that's, kind of data driven, that kind of filtering of my impulses through this tool that is the computer, and that kind of, there's kind of this funny point at which there's something kind of artificial yet very, very expressive that I'm kind of going after all the time.
So yeah, so it's kind of a not so much juxtaposition as it is kind of a push-pull.
Yes, definitely. And they're so interwoven. There's a lot of kind of back and forth that I'm doing, certain steps on the computer, certain steps physically, and back and forth, depending on whether we're talking about paintings or drawings or sculptures. And so those intervention points are really interesting points at which my decision-making kind of interface with the computer, and the results sometimes are kind of surprising, as I'm in control, but I'm also not, designing every shape in a painting individually. They're more designed almost as modules in a sense. So there's funny little unexpected things that happen, certainly with the sculptures. There's a lot of, you're kind of pressing a few keystrokes and then some amazing thing happens. So I'm open to a lot of that. So there's kind of a varying degrees of control in there also.
Oh, that's interesting. You've been working on a computer to make your work for a long time. You were an early adopter.
I have. I just read recently that Photoshop had its 30-year anniversary recently, and I've been using Photoshop for 30 years. So I had that first version on floppy disks that, you had to shove 18 million disks into the computer 40 times each and spitting them in and spitting them out. And the programs have changed so much over the years, and my use of them has been a very kind of organic, natural kind of thing, growing along with the programs in a sense. Nothing that I do is really that complicated, I said, and a lot of things that are not scripted, but things that I do again and again to kind of get similar results. But then there's always times where something happens and I can't remember how I got it, because that part of the process is very playful and free. And it's the one really kind of just playing around sometimes and come up with something that seems interesting to pursue. other things are a little bit more scripted and I kind of know what results I'm shooting for.
Oh, great, great. Well, I hate to say this, but we're supposed to keep these short. So I think we're going to have to encourage everybody to look up your work on our website and
Okay.
check you out on Instagram. And thank you for letting us come into your studio today. And
Thanks so much.
I will talk to you soon.
Okay, terrific.